Welcome back, family. It's Elena, and it is February the 13th, 2018. This is study session 8, Obscure Oils for Emotional Support. And this is part 2 of 3. And we might even do part 4. I'm not sure, but for sure we're doing 3 parts here. So welcome back to the page. So happy to have you here. Today we will be talking about a little bit prior to which oils, why we use oils for emotional support. Oils are here to function in 5 different ways, according to some of my teachers. They're here to heal the body. They're here to heal the heart. They're here to help us release beliefs that no longer belong in our space. They're here to help us increase our awareness and connection of spirit, if that is perchance the language that you speak. And they're here to inspire us to live our potential. Now, what I've found in my own experience, because that's all I can speak about, is that the more consistently I use my oils, whether I'm diffusing, putting them on my body, or applying them to my child or my man or my family, the more I have them in my space and the more consistent I am with them, the easier it is for me to feel the effects of the plants. And I am not making any claims when I say what I'm saying here. What I am doing is sharing with you my experience, and it's really important that you have your own experience. So as I share the magic of the oils that we'll be covering today, which are Siberian fir and Ylang, and what else have we got for bergamot, black pepper, so delicious. We'll also talk a little bit about cardamom and myrrh to close. Know that these are all oils that took me 5 years to find. I didn't use these oils at first. I used lavender, I used peppermint, I used lemon, I used orange, I used the things that I was familiar with that were comfortable to me. And until I really began to understand the emotional qualities of the oils and the ways in which these oils can support us emotionally, then and only then could I start using them for myself and my family in these very particular ways about which we'll discuss today. Siberian fir is an oil that helps us keep our perspective, that helps us to land in a place of maturity. I have needed this oil lately. I've been diffusing it quite a bit, most often lately with wild orange. Siberian fir goes really well with all the citruses, and typically, for your information, the woods and the citruses go pretty well together, so you can kind of count on that in your experimentation in your diffuser. But Siberian fir gives us the comfort of perspective. In the Emotions and Essential Oils book, it's all about aging and perspective. And you know, I've been discussing with a lot of my friends and seeing posts about this often lately, that we actually are tasked to get comfortable aging gracefully. Siberian fir gives us that gift through loss, through opposition, through fear, through any seeming hurdle. Siberian fir can be used in that regard. Desiree Mangendog, to whom I reference often for her work, she's got another book coming. I'm wagging my tail in anticipation of it. I just got to see her last week. She often uses Douglas fir and white fir in her blends, and you can sub Siberian fir for those, but particularly for white fir. Siberian is very similar to that if you still have white fir left. In shifting energy of longing or pining or feeling like you've lost something, or enduring a real loss in your life of a person or a situation of perhaps a job or something like this, Siberian fir can be of great support. It reminds us to use our awareness to actively look for what is good in a situation and focus on that. Ylang, oh, and it also blends very well with rosemary. And when you think about rosemary, which we talked about in part 1 in study session 7, rosemary is all about opening yourself to higher understandings. And physiologically, rosemary works really well on your scalp for any sort of scalp issues whatsoever. So the top of the head to help us feel into and receive the information that's coming to us. And the Siberian fir, so rosemary, Siberian fir, and the diffuser, to help assimilate the information that comes in and keep it in a healthy perspective. Siberian fir has been very important around here lately, I have to say. Ylang Ylang is next. And this one I finally started adding into my face oil with frankincense and myrrh, which we'll talk about at the end. Ylang Ylang is a very good support for the heart. There are many different ways to use this. I am going to tell you a story with this one, holding my little rose quartz crystal while I tell. Ylang Ylang was the first thing I thought of when I was talking to one of my dear colleagues on my team who was explaining to me that she needed to move some energy around her childhood. In her childhood, her dad was very uncomfortable around money and would actually express anger and frustration around bills and all matters of finances. And now as an adult and doing very well for herself with her business, she's still feeling a block around money. Upon hearing the full picture of this story and how she used to witness her father being angry as a child and not understanding the full scope of his anger, I tried to channel Desiree, first of all, because I knew Desiree was asleep. It was quite early in the morning when we were away last week with her. And I said, okay, let's get the Ylang Ylang, let's put it on your heart, and let's do a little bit of EFT, emotional freedom technique, or tapping, to talk as this little girl to her daddy. Now, if this sounds absolutely bonkers to you, it's because it is. It's one of the biggest risks I take when I talk to myself or to anyone who needs healing around something in their childhood, around some trauma in their childhood. And I've learned it from many different practitioners my whole life. To get into the mind frame of that child while doing any sort of tapping at all on any of the acupoints that we work on is to actually help release the energy of that child's pain and that child's misunderstanding as that child moves through the world now. So let's say you have a bit of trauma around your childhood of any kind. If you have your Ylang Ylang with you, please take it out. And please put a little bit of it on your hands. It's a very mild oil, so you don't have to dilute it necessarily unless you're very, very sensitive. And you, in the silence of your own home, you get to think about what that child that you were, that child who you were, would like to say right now to the person who hurt you or in any way demeaned you or was negative with you. And you can go ahead and just start on the first points, the outside edge of your hand, right on the meaty part of the hand, and just do a little bit of tapping there. And speak your mind. I'm going to give you some silent space for a moment. In this gal's case, it was, Dad, don't worry. I'm going to grow up. I'm going to have a family of my own. I'm going to have plenty of money of my own. You will always be taken care of. You will always be sorted out. You do not need to be frustrated right now about money. Everything is going to be fine. I can see it to the future, and I know. And in doing this, and it took her a moment to really start to talk and say these things. You can tap right here too if you're tapping. She really felt a relief. And after a little while, go right under the eye. After a little while, she started to feel like a different person. And in doing so, what we both came to realize is that this oil, as much as it is about playfulness and the inner child and connecting to that free spirit, it's also about deeply healing the child who's hurting inside of you. Keep this oil close if this resonates with you. You don't have to start tapping right now if this doesn't feel right to you, but I will encourage you to find Nick Ortner or Brad James. I believe that's Brad's last name. If I'm wrong, please forgive me and correct me, somebody, and study with them. I study with Nick and I love him. He and I will be doing some work together on this page coming in the future. I cannot say how much tapping has helped me, because just to be on these little points, saying the words that need to be said, moving through calmly what needs to be moved through and released from my system has been everything to me. And it's helped me immeasurably in my maturity, in growing older, and in in handling things that don't happen the way that I wish they would have. Inner child care, Ylang, Ylang. It also helps us with receiving intuitively. It also is wonderful to help us restore our faith in people. I've been given reasons to lose my faith in people lately, and just a few. And I've been using this a lot. And as I said, I've been incorporating it into my facial routine just by putting a drop into my face oil with a drop of frankincense, a drop of geranium, and sometimes even a drop of myrrh too. And we'll talk about that shortly. And just to have it on my face and to be smelling it pretty consistently throughout the day has very much calmed me and helped me to restore my faith as I'm embarking on an even deeper level of responsibility in the world. Let's move on. Bergamot. Not a super rare oil, nor is it super obscure, but it's a conversation that we do need to have. Such a special oil. It's actually out of stock for a while because there was trouble getting to the crop in Italy where it is grown, Fordoterra. Bergamot's about loving and accepting yourself. And I know you need this as much as I do. And I know you need it on a daily basis as much as I do. As well as things seem to be going sometimes, every single day, I need to work with myself on loving myself and accepting myself again today. It invites us to see ourselves with optimism and with belief in our own lovability. Bergamot is cleansing of all the sort of stagnant and limiting beliefs that we entertain throughout any given day. It harmonizes the life force in your body. So what does that mean? Whenever you're feeling like you are stuck, or on the opposite end of the spectrum, you're moving too quickly, Bergamot is a tool that helps you to bring it right back to the center. It's a lemony sweet, and it's, in a way, it brings sweetness if sweetness is what you need. But it also has a way to ground me when I need grounding. And if I had to pick only one citrus to carry around, which would be a hard choice, I would pick bergamot. It helps us connect with our authentic self, with kindness. Each of us has at our core that quality, kindness, deep, deep kindness. And it reminds us also that we're enough. Bergamot. As I've said before many, many times, I like to take one drop. Just one. Share it with the other index finger. And bring it to this little point right here. It's called the ear shenmen for those of you Chinese medicine practitioners. And if you rest comfortably and just a very light touch there for about 30 seconds or so, you can close your eyes if you wish. I'll make sure you come back when it's time. And you can sense almost immediately the quieting in the body. You can do that too with other citruses, but bergamot is a particularly refined citrus. Bergamot also helps us build trust in ourselves, as Desiree says, that we can make the change that needs to be made. Diffuser, boy, have I diffused bergamot with literally everything. I go through bergamot faster than any other oil, probably one a month at least. I diffuse this with everything from geranium to clary sage to all the woods, all the other citruses, even black pepper, which we'll talk about next, cardamom, anything, literally anything. Bergamot and anything will go really well. Even arbor vitae, things that are very strong and deep. Let's go on to black pepper. This little powerhouse, amazing if you're healing from addiction. Keep this one close. Black pepper is all about unmasking, and it helps us to dig into all parts of ourselves with honesty. Black pepper is meant to encourage the release of what doesn't serve us so that we can receive what does again and again, today and again today. It helps us release shame and blame. I have to smell it. It helps to reignite our soul fire. You'll be so surprised when you smell this. If you don't have it, I really recommend that you get it because it's such a surprising smell. It's not something that's very confronting. It's actually very comforting to me. It helps us overcome challenges with integrity. It helps you to, according to Desiree, uncover the root of why certain things are highly frustrating to you and move that out. You know what I'm talking about. That person or that one situation in your life that just constantly gets to you. It's weirdly soothing. Again, it goes great with bergamot. I love it in the diffuser with frankincense and with coriander as well. Coriander is coming in our Obscure Oils Part 3. I can't wait for that one. I've been using coriander a lot too. And let's go to cardamom. So, after sitting with Desiree for, a good hour and a half last week, I feel so lucky and blessed. And she gave me a prescription for cardamom on my belly as often as I wish right now, because cardamom is about digesting physically and emotionally what is coming at you. And she told me that after I explained to her what life is like right now, how there are many inputs coming in. I'm now in a process of paring things down, releasing what I don't need, saying no where it's very difficult to say no. I wish I could say yes to everything that is presented to me, work-wise and personally. But physiologically and emotionally, this cardamom is really about clearing the space, assimilating well, and moving forward. And so Kyla gets to see Desiree this weekend. I'm jealous. Cardamom is the oil of objectivity, according to the Emotions and Essential Oils teachers. And it brings objectivity to any situation where you can't get out of your opinion fast enough. You can't get out of your assumption. Think about if there's anything in your life right now where you are right and the other person is wrong. God, and there's no other way. I dare you to start to just play with a little cardamom in your belly button, the same way you would with Digest Zen or Zengest. Just a few drops on your belly, rub around in the direction of digestion, and just see how you feel after a few applications. You might have a different mind frame. Cardamom is helping us to digest strong emotions. It's helping us to break down intensity of any kind. It's helping us to redirect energy to our solar plexus, power center, so that we can actually be responsible for the outcome of things rather than be the one who just goes around blaming all the time. Wouldn't that be nice? That's something I feel is definitely my dharma at this time. And she picked up on it, gave it words, gave it legs, gave it structure. And now there's cardamom on my belly all the time. And if you come and hug me, you will smell like a chai when you let go of me. And I don't care. It smells amazing. And practicing yoga when my shirt comes over my head is my favorite. Facilitating mental sobriety is also one of the qualities of cardamom. Mental sobriety, what does that mean exactly? When my mind is going a mile a minute, when it is going into a very negative direction, it is going into a doubtful direction, and I don't understand why it's going this way, and I can't get out of it, and my hormones are raging. In that moment, cardamom is perfect. When I need to get sober mentally, I need to get out of my whirling mentally, cardamom's great for that. Truth amidst the chaos. And finally, myrrh. Never liked myrrh until my mom died. Now I get it. Now I get it. And I wore my sweater today to match with the myrrh label because I can't even help myself. Myrrh is helping the soul feel the nurturing presence of a mother. Myrrh is Mother Earth. Myrrh establishes or reestablishes a connection not only to the earth, but to one's own mother. Let's say you don't have a connection to her. Let's say she was mentally ill or is mentally ill. Let's say she has addictions and you can't get close to that woman ever, and you have to deal with the fact that you never will. Myrrh is so important for you. And it gets thick and goopy and sticky, just like mothers have a tendency to do. My mentor says to immediately upon receiving this bottle in the mail, go ahead and put a little bit more fractionated coconut into it and keep adding your fractionated coconut oil into it as it goes. It's super strong anyway. It's totally fine to dilute it a little bit, and it will keep it in a nice even consistency longer. If you have had myrrh for a long time collecting dust in your closet and now the cap is stuck, run it closed under warm water so that you can unstick the cap. You should be fine. Myrrh is cultivating soul trust. It's that you are in the right place. You are safe in this world. It inoculates us from the emotionally adverse effects of the world. Oh, now it means everything to me. I feel it right along the bottom edge of my heart space when I inhale this now. I invite you to inhale it if you have it and just see where exactly you feel it. It invites you to remember your profound security. Again, as I mentioned earlier, I've been doing a drop of myrrh into my face oil, and now it's this whole week after the sunshine, it was quite a to-do. Face oil, 1 drop of myrrh, 1 drop of ylang, 1 drop of geranium, 1 drop of frankincense, put that on my face. It is like, it's Christmas. It's the most soothing and smoothing feeling to have all 4 of them on my face at once, and together they are a powerhouse. Myrrh, according to Desiree, soothes your soul and reminds you that you are completely taken care of. So keep that around. In the diffuser, myrrh with lavender, with bergamot, with frankincense, even with spearmint. If you're about to speak, especially those of you who teach virtually also, myrrh and spearmint in your diffuser is really nice. The connection, and then also the way in which you communicate and offer yourself to the world vocally, verbally. I think that's enough for now. I will stay away from the sort of physiological components, but I will say this. If you have kids and you want to play with some of these uses for these oils in particular with your children, keep in mind that you have the occipital points in the back of your head close to your hairline on the kids. That's a really great place to apply these oils. And frankly, I'm just a little bit conservative, so I dilute everything when it comes to the kids. Just a little teaspoon or half a teaspoon of fractionated coconut oil with any of these oils for any of the purposes that we discussed today. Emotionally, rub it into your hands. And then you can just place your hand on the back of the child's neck entirely, which covers both the neck pulse points and the occipital pulse point. The bottoms of the feet, either here on the bottom of your big toe or on the foot arches. Really nice way to work with these oils too if the smells don't satisfy you, which sometimes they don't. A lot of these oils are very protective neurologically, and those will be also discussed in future study sessions here on this page. But for now, that is how this magical group of oils can be used for emotional support. And I'm really, really grateful that you shared this time with me. I think I'm making the shape of a heart. I am. Check that out. That was unintentional, my friends. I love you. Thank you for being here today. It's always such a pleasure to share what I'm learning. And I want to give a big shout out to Nikki Morissette for helping me with the research. Love you, Nichols. Bye, everybody. Thank you so much.